My name is Gus.
Gus, how old are you, man?
I am 43 years old.
So, Gus, what's your relationship status currently?
I am single.
Have you ever been married before?
No, I have not.
Do you want to get married someday?
No, I do not.
Okay, so is there any specific reason why you don't want to get married, Gus?
I find that relationships tend to really stress me out. I find myself with a lot of anxiety in them.
If you ask a man above the age of 40 what his best marriage advice is, the words he will utter to you are the literal cause of the divorce problem in the United States. We have a 50% divorce rate in the US.
Sometimes too, you'll meet a guy and he doesn't live here. He's like, oh, I'm visiting from New York. I'm visiting from DC. Oh, I'll never see you again because I'm just trying to be here and turn up.
The worst marriage advice I've ever heard in my life has come from basically every married guy that I've spoken to over the age of 40. If you ask a man above the age of 40 what his best marriage advice is, the words he will utter to you are the literal cause of the divorce problem in the United States. We have a 50% divorce rate in the US, and it's because of men's best advice for marriage. Well, my boy, this is how you maintain a good marriage. Happy wife, happy life. Fuck that. When a woman falls in love with you, she falls in love with the most independent, masculine version of you. And what happens is, because men are so addicted to the feel-good chemicals that come along with sexual intercourse, we are willing to literally bend over fucking backwards in order for that to happen. Men will spend 60 years in a marriage doing whatever the woman wants just so that he can feel a little bit of peace and get laid at the end of the day. But what happens with that is you become predictable. You become boring as fuck. 70% of divorces are initiated by women. She didn't fall in love with the boring as fuck version of you that does whatever she says. She fell in love with the guy who did whatever the fuck he wants to do, an independent, young, masculine dude. Then you became this amorphous blob that just sits in a fucking recliner chair and does whatever your wife wants. That's boring. Whoever you were when you met, like, keep being that guy, because that's the guy she actually fucking likes. If that means she gets pissed off sometimes, or you don't do the thing that she wants to do and she throws a fit, like, whatever. The long-term benefit of maintaining that dynamic that you had in the beginning, that is going to be what actually keeps things going. So if anybody tells you to do whatever the fuck your wife says, happy wife, happy life, always just say, yes, dear. Fuck that. Don't listen.
In all seriousness, I 100% agree with this guy. This kind of reminds me of a story that I had a few months ago, actually. I was about to go on a vacation and we're at the airport, about to take off. We're going to Mexico. And this guy comes up to us. So I was with this, backstory. I'm with this girl. We're literally about to board. So we're eating at the food court, grabbing some quick food. And this gentleman walks up to us, older guy. And he's basically telling me, he's like, hey man, you guys look like a great couple. Mind you, me and this girl weren't not together. But he assumed, just because, she's really attractive, whatever made him assume that we were together. He did assume that. And then he tells me, these are the things, mind you, she's like sitting close by and he's giving me this advice that was unsolicited. But as a guy who understands the respect aspect, when you meet somebody, especially someone who's older, you just kind of give them that respect and you listen, hear him out. So I'm listening to this guy, right? And he's telling me the things that need to be done to keep a marriage sustained. And honestly, it was some of the most dumb shit that I'd ever heard. The reason, and it kind of echoes what this gentleman is talking about, what he says, the happy life notion. And honestly, as I'm hearing him out, I'm thinking, there's no way that this guy isn't the bitch in his relationship. And maybe it works for him. It's a different generation. We live in a time where, just because of the influence that we have with social media, it is so important that men remain men. And me as an individual, there's just no way that I've ever been kind of programmed to think in this weak mindset. So after hearing him out, I remember thinking, wow. And then me and the girl had a conversation. So she's feeling great, because basically everything he was saying is like, hey man, just kind of do what she wants and keep it. I'm thinking, man, dude, I've taken myself from, poor kid to all the way to where I'm at now, where, I live a great life and things like that. For me to bring someone into this life and then have to just play second fiddle is insane. And plus, she wouldn't like that. See, a lot of times guys tend to forget that women love you. Just like he said, he's spot on when he said that. Women love you for the type of guy that you are when they meet. If you're that strong, alpha type, you're a leader, you know, you're decisive, you know what's going on, trust me, they don't want you to change. And once you do change, that's when I think most people actually start to see she doesn't respect you. If you stay the same, you stay 100% solid, a woman will always respect you. And that's actually what they want. They don't want the guy who's going to be a bitch, who's going to say yes, ma'am, and play second. Because at the end of the day, they're going to go look for that in somebody else, potentially. Or they're going to leave and say they couldn't figure out why things changed. No, you got to stand your ground and stay 100% solid. One of the best things about this generation of men is I think a lot of us are starting to realize that earlier on. And so what that's going to mean is you're going to see guys that are going to be solid, and it's going to eventually have to force the other market to change. As long as we can't change the marriage leverage laws and how they all work in the US, right? We can't in the West in general, but men can remain strong. And as a guy, if you remain steadfast and you stay strong, you will get far better outcomes than if you listen to somebody who told you just play second fiddle.
So who do I have with me today?
My name is Gus.
Gus, how old are you, man?
I'm 43 years old.
I'll tell you what, you have a nice full head of hair, man. That's something I had years ago, but anyway. So Gus, what's your relationship status currently?
I am single.
All right, so you're single. I'm curious, have you ever been married before?
No, I have not.
All right, so same boat as me, never married. I'm 54, of course, but now, do you have any children?
No, I do not.
No kids, same. Do you want to get married someday?
No, I do not.
Okay, so is there any specific reason why you don't want to get married, Gus?
Well, to be honest, I usually am. I mean, most of my life I am single. I find that relationships...
It's important to understand that before we even go further in this video, I think it's something important that we have to point out. The fact that just because someone chooses to live their life single does not mean that is going to be the norm for most people, right? And you have to think about this from this perspective. Who is this guy at his core as far as what he's made of his life? And, you know, look at the neighborhood that it looks like this is filmed in versus you see a guy like a multimillionaire living in a mansion telling you that he's single at 40. So you have to kind of keep those things in your mind when this is happening, okay? Let's continue on.
Most of my life I am single. I find that relationships tend to really stress me out. I find myself with a lot of anxiety in them. And quite frankly, just don't really feel that great. And, you know, I fully accept that a lot of that has to do with me. I just don't really have strong desire to actually be in relationships with people most of the time. You know, I'm not immune to, like, you know, meeting someone and falling for them.
So as far as kids, I guess that's completely off the table at this point because you don't want to get married.
It's never once crossed my mind.
Okay.
No, you don't have to be married to have kids.
Exactly. Now, I'm sure you have had a lot of girlfriends in your life. Did it ever get to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, I might ask this woman to marry me?
I have not come close, and relatively speaking, I have not had a lot of girlfriends in my life.
What's the biggest positive or pro of being a single 43-year-old dude, no kids?
Well, it eliminates two significant sources of...
All right, before we actually find out what his pro tip is for being a 42-year-old with no kid, I want to touch on a few things before I lose my thought. This guy is what I call... When you hear society or women discuss guys that are single and how miserable they can be, I think this is the ideal of what they're talking about. They're not really necessarily talking about the Elon Musk. Now I get it that's an extreme as well, but like they're not talking about the single multi-million, just like few $1 million in the bank type of bachelor. They're talking about an extreme more like this guy. Even what he's saying, basically you could tell that, okay, maybe he hasn't really had that many options relationship wise. He's not in the top 10% of men, just based off of what I can gather, right? Yeah, he might be, and I'm just totally misreading this, but let's just be honest. That's just what I'm seeing here. Why am I telling you that? It's important because as a man, I think it's important that you realize that you're gonna have options throughout your life. Whether or not you choose to get married or choose not to, you need to become the best version of yourself so that you get the choice to pick, but you don't get to pick out of two options that aren't favorable. Let me give you an example. So I think a lot of guys don't understand, once you build yourself up, you become the best version of yourself, you become financially sound. And you know, soon here, if you guys need help as far as becoming becoming more financially solid. I'm going to be dropping my school group, helping you guys, teaching you how to learn about money, how to play the game to win. You don't wake up one day, get a Lambo, get the houses, get real estate, and all those things. No, they take planning. They're strategic. So it's important that as a man, that you understand that if you want to hit these goals, you will ultimately get a lifestyle that actually in the future gives you options. Majority of the time when women are talking about the guys that are going to be struggling in the dating market, they're not talking about those type of guys. They're not talking about us. They're talking about a different type of guy. They're talking more so a guy like this. But it is still important that even though he would not be the ideal, probably the ideal guy that most women are looking for, he's still humble enough to tell you the truth about his current situation. I'm going to continue on, let him give us his 2 tips, and then we'll kind of dive into a little bit.
Anxiety, and I have a lot of those, and I struggle with that quite a bit. You know, I'll come out and say it. I'm really not equipped to handle it.
Right. Okay.
And I got no problem admitting that.
All right. Well, listen, Gus, man, nice meeting you, and I appreciate your time. Thanks.
All right, so I thought Gus was going to give us another pro tip, but here's something else that I wanted to say. Whatever decision you choose to make in life, it's my belief and kind of the principles that I live with is you need to understand that those decisions have consequences, and those consequences you have to be willing to live with and not complain about it. I think a lot of times, you know, I hear guys say they don't want to be married and they don't want to look. You're going to live in this world, and that's okay if you don't want to get married, or because you don't want to have a relationship with women. Not even so much get married, but having relationships and having kids and all that. Just understand that as you get older, you might want those things. And if you don't, you know, you want to, like I said, you want to put yourself in the best position. And one of the best positions is to become the best version of yourself at all times. Continue working on yourself. One, the reason that's so important is everyone will like that version of you. Or I shouldn't say everyone should like that, because you're not really doing it for them. But I'm saying opposite sex will always find that version of you more attractive. And that gives you the options to pick and choose what you want to do. Why is that important? I think it's so important that men really understand that if you want to be a part of that top 10%, you need to develop the confidence, but you also need to build yourself. I remember as a young kid not really seeing, especially growing up in the kind of environments that I did early on in my life, I didn't really see a lot of guys that were working in their purpose. And that would kind of lead them to a path that I don't think was favorable to them, where they probably got an outcome like this, but they didn't choose that outcome. I now see, and I'm surrounded by men that are, if they want to choose to not get married, they can do that. Why? Because they are still the top elite men. They're in the gym. They're in great shape. Women want them. And those are the ones that then women complain about, that they don't want to get married, because those are the ones that are desirable to them. So I guess the moral of the story is this. As a man, you have to understand that, yes, I'm seeing this gentleman that, like myself, isn't married and he doesn't want kids. I mean, I want kids. But this doesn't mean that he is the poster child for all single type men. As a guy, if you choose to work on yourself and get better, you can get far better outcomes, and you get to dictate how that outcome plays out for you. You could be a playboy for the rest of your life if that's your thing. But yeah, so you guys definitely make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment. Tell me, are you in that boat that believes that, you know, you just kind of tuck away and do nothing? Or if you're an individual who's looking to get better, trust me, I believe that that's the best way to kind of go about life.
I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks when it comes to my job. I do OF, obviously. But I don't give a fuck, because honestly, I think about my day and I'm like, damn, my life is so cool. I went to Pilates this morning. I drove to a matcha place. And then I went to the beach for a couple hours, laid, had a drink, and now I'm driving to Nobu, Malibu, and I'm hanging out with my friends from Miami. Like, I am literally so happy. My investments are up, my socials are doing good, my job is doing well, my family's awesome. Like, life is fucking great. And I'm minding my own business. Like, that's the best part. Like, yeah, my job is like controversial, but honestly, I love what I do and I love my life.
I have a crazy take on this. I actually don't mind what she said. I don't think there is wrong with what she said. Issue that I have, or the issue I think that could be had, is this. When it is time to pay the piper, I cannot stand it. People will come online and then act like they were a victim. They will somehow spin this to be, you know, because I remember seeing a video, I can't remember, I wish I can tag it, about the girl saying that she started OF, and she basically blamed the guys who were consuming it, or I'm sure there are other women that consume it as well, but she was basically blaming the people that consumed it for pushing her into it, or was it porn? I can't remember which one, but it just blows my mind because it takes away the accountability. I like the energy she has. I just don't know if she will sustain this energy. If she sustains it, then she's a real one. If you start something, right? I think as a guy, one of the craziest things that you realize, or you should realize, especially if you're in business, right, is that no one is coming to save you, but better yet, no one cares about your excuse. And I don't know if we always extend that to women when it comes to, especially like people in this OF world and things like that. It's almost like we take the accountability away from them whenever they choose to stop doing it. This girl's saying the right things right now, but she cannot change her mind and expect us to not hold her accountable. Like, you can't turn around and make the victims out of the people who are giving you the lifestyle where you can get matcha in Malibu and do the Pilates. Those things you aren't able to get them without the people that are supporting you. You're the simps or whoever these guys that are subscribing to OnlyFans. Nasty work. I don't understand how these guys are doing it. But look, I'm not gonna judge you. You live with the consequences. If you're an OnlyFans watcher, sure, knock yourself out. No hate here. But once again, we're talking about her, and I will say this: you gotta respect the moxie she has right now. She's talking a good game. I just can't stand it when I hear the sob story, because I almost want to play this and say, I bet you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you had this mentality. Or another one you'll see is when it's time for them to want a relationship long-term, get married, and then they get mad that why does he care about these things? Like, baby girl, do you not understand the amount of information you put out there? Like, we see you, right? Like, this shit's still out here. As long as she maintains the same energy throughout, she's good. I can't knock the hustle. She calls it a business. Knock yourself out. Well, in business, anyone who's in business knows this. Another business person, you gotta live with the consequences because you benefited from the highs. You gotta live with the consequences on the low. And as long as she has that mentality as well, she holds true to that, I can't knock her. I'm not gonna lie. As hard as it is to watch for some, to me, I'm cool with it. I like that. I like her attitude about it. But my fear is I don't know if she'll keep the same attitude for the long run.
Sometimes too, you'll meet a guy and he doesn't live here. He's like, oh, I'm visiting from New York. I'm visiting from DC. Oh, I'll never see you again because I'm just trying to be here and turn up. That happens a lot. So yeah, I still haven't figured out the whole dating in Miami thing. Some women recommend going to a nice upscale gym. Some women say that they date and go to, of course, like a nice hotel or nice bars, nice lobbies. There's definitely money here, not gonna lie. There's definitely men with yachts and boats and live lavish lifestyle, penthouse suites, like living in the Gables, living in, like, the money is here. But you're gonna have to figure out how to infiltrate it and how to assess it and to make sure, is this a real dollar? Like, is it real or not? So as I said, if you are Hispanic or white or something like that, it's a lot easier to meet a man who will probably spoil you, take care of you, and do that whole thing. If you're looking for a man of substance and you want him to be paid, y'all need to comment and tell me where to go, because it has not been easy. I have multiple beautiful Black women friends who are single, who are having a hard time meeting people, and they're beautiful, they're hardworking, they're intelligent, all the things.
All right, so as someone who used to live in Miami, I totally can agree with what she's saying. Miami is, honestly, it's a very unique city. I remember I moved there I was living in Milwaukee and I moved to Miami, and something that I realized was, like, Miami was unique. I was making money. I was doing plastic surgery up there, or anesthesia for the plastic surgery. So trust me, we were making a ton of money. We were changing lives. But what I did realize real quick was, like, Miami is such a unique city in the sense that there's just so many beautiful women. I remember you could meet Spanish, white, Black, Russian, European, African, Jamaican, Haitian. You can't even just categorize people like Black, white, Hispanic in Miami, because there's just so many types. There's Colombians, Venezuelans, you name it, right? So it is very competitive, and I think that's something that women, if you're gonna move to Miami, you better understand that if you're an 8 in your city or 9 by men's standards, because women will give themselves a 9, and just be honest, a guy will really look at her and say, okay, she's a 6, but not bad. Remember, 6s are actually probably the most married. I know if that pisses you off, you move to Miami, you're kind of like an average 8, 7. Most of the times you will drop down because there's just so many beautiful women. I remember waking up, I work out in the mornings, right? And I would be at the gym at 5 a.m. and I kid you not, there'd be girls already there, like they're mid-sweat. meaning they've been cranking out weights for like probably an hour and a half. It was crazy. Mind you, I'd have a 7 a.m. case, and there were already girls in the gym. So I'm thinking, damn, what time do you go to sleep? You wake up? They take this stuff seriously. So why do I say that? Because Miami's very competitive. So if you're looking for a guy, just understand that so many other women that are beautiful like you are also looking. And if you're used to low competition, right? If you're a beautiful girl in Houston, especially in our culture, right? There's sometimes the people don't compete enough. And then if let's say you're living in a different city and you're 8 in that city, but you didn't have to compete that much because there weren't that many 8s in that city, and you go to Miami, you are average. So if you have the same mindset, like, I don't need to compete for no man, okay, cool. You will find out real quickly that you will get left behind. Why? Because the dudes will not care. There's so many fine women from so many different walks of life in Miami. So that's the number one thing. You gotta be ready to be competitive. This girl, she's attractive. I don't know how old she is, whatever, but she's attractive. I mean, you can't take that away from her. Yeah, it's gonna be hard for her to date and try to find the guy she wants, especially if she's not trying to put herself out there or do the necessary things. Another thing that's important to understand is Miami's not a city where most people go to build relationships. It is very difficult to actually build a sustainable relationship in Miami because one, she alluded to it earlier too. You got to make sure the money's real. I remember a funny story when I lived in Miami. One of my friends would tell me that you would see guys that would rent cars and live in shacks because they knew it was all flash, right? If the girls see the nice car, they're going back with them. So that was some people's lives. Like I couldn't make sense of it for me as a business person. I'm like, yo, I'm not faking this. Like I'm either just gonna do what I do. I remember seeing people that were like faking it. So Miami has that component. That's number 2. The third one is, like I said, people aren't necessarily looking for relationships. So it's a bad city. It's a beautiful city, but it's gonna be rare for you to actually find something that you're gonna say, okay, I can actually date and I can get married or I can long-term relationship. No, because every single corner, the guy who's got the yacht, you think he's blind? When he pulls up in that McLaren, when he pulls up in that Lambo, every other girl saw him. Every other girl wanted him too. So you're going to be competing against all of that talent. These something that girls got to keep in mind if you're going to Miami. And then the guys that are there, trust me, there's a ton of guys getting no play in Miami. Why? Because they just don't have the money. So it goes both ways. Miami is one of those cities. If you're a top 10% guy, you need to live in Miami. You need to experience it one time. I've been to Cali. It's different, the demographic, because just the sheer mixtures. Miami, in my opinion, had it the best. So I get her beef, but honestly, it's gonna be tough, man.
Ending off another weekend meeting a bunch of bad bitches with good jobs. You niggas are pathetic. If you are out here claiming that you can't find a good woman that's put together, that got her shit going for her, if you can't find a quality woman out here, something is wrong with you. I just got done meeting a bad bitch with a good job. Pretty as fuck, a surgeon. Pretty as fuck, and will take your appendix out for you. I meet a bad bitch every fucking weekend with a good job. I meet a bad bitch that pays $5,000 in rent every weekend.
I don't understand why that's important if she pays $5,000 in rent. She's not paying my rent, and if I come into her life, if any guy comes into her life, she wants that guy to start paying the $5,000 a month in rent. She doesn't want to use her surgeon skills once he comes into her life. So I don't understand why she's saying these things, like negating the fact that once that guy's there, the whole game is going to change. So it's like irrelevant, but let's continue.
What are you niggas talking about? You can't find you a baddie. What are y'all talking?
Dudes have never said we can't find baddies. I've never heard that. Guys being around saying there aren't enough beautiful women. No, guys have never said that. Guys are more realistic about the job. We know they're beautiful women. We know that there's a lot of average women too. Now, what she's considering a baddie might be different. I think that's probably what's going on. She's probably considering the job as what's making her a baddie. What she's doing is she's viewing this surgeon as if how she would view a man that she would consider, let's just use the word baddie, like a guy who's desirable. We'll say that's what she's considering, because I think that's why she brought up the surgeon part.
You know what? I have a theory about you niggas. I have a theory that the women you're looking for are chasing Drake. That's why you can't catch them. I have a theory that the women y'all are chasing is chasing Ja Morant. And
oh, okay. last time I'm gonna pause it. I think now I see what's going on. She's saying that when we want beautiful women, they're chasing those guys. Some of it is true. That's a true enough statement. We can agree with that, right? Some beautiful women chase the athletes, but I hate to break it to her, average looking women as well also chase the athletes, but neither here nor there. But she's saying that the surgeon is beautiful. I'm thinking to her, because clearly men must see her as a surgeon. So I don't understand if she's pretty enough. I'm sure guys are trying to hit on her, but it's just
Whatever these other young NBA players' niggas' names are, because I don't fucking know them. But they're not looking for you, and that's why you're having no luck. A lot of you niggas want women that the niggas you want to be have had. And because you want to be that nigga, or you wish you was like this with the nigga, you wish you was adjacent with the nigga, you only want that woman because of her proximity to him and these other niggas that you admire. But you don't want a bad bitch that's a surgeon. No, you want the bitch who's in her DMs is Drake and the other NBA players.
I think it's fair to say that she is 100% projecting. She is looking at how men select based off of how she selects and expects us to select the same way. She's not considering like conventional stuff that men would actually want, right? Like youth and things like that. I'm in healthcare. I've met a ton of surgeons that were attractive for several reasons, right? And I'll say this, a lot of the times there's other factors that take them away from just being desirable to men, right? Especially men that are probably also as successful, other surgeons likewise or whatever. She's not gonna consider that though. Some of those things could be, how old is a surgeon? How does her ego change because she's a surgeon, and does she still submit to a guy who has the options? Because remember, men are always willing to go back and date further down if they get peace and things like that, right? But women aren't necessarily gonna do that. Some of them might be living in the, I'm a surgeon too, I'm gonna have a pissing contest with you, and that's just not gonna fly with a lot of guys. So they're just not gonna stand for that. They're just gonna exit stage left and let you figure it out. So of course she's not gonna consider that, because in her calculation, and just listen to the messenger, you can hear it in her voice, the anger. And I get it, she's probably the discontent. She's probably not gotten the results that she wants, so she's projecting just continuously talking about the fact that we want a small portion of, we're all chasing the same small portion. Just think about that. Most women want the same. I forget how the numbers go, but nonetheless, we all know this by now. 80% of women want about 10 to 20% of the men. That is exactly the stat that she's quoting, or not, she didn't quote it, but the stat that she's discussing without having to quote it. So once again, I think she's just projecting continuously. And this is one thing that I think women should really understand. But unless a woman teaches other women, they'll never listen to men. We don't think like y'all. We do not think like them, but it's so difficult for us to really get them to really understand that. And it comes to a point where I'm just waiting for one of the women in the sisterhood to come out and say, hey, let me put you guys on game, and give them this groundbreaking information that men have been screaming, because I know for sure they're not trying to listen to us.
Ever since I made it known that I am now single, there has been a suspicious amount of male energy in my DMs, and I just want to make something poignantly clear. I have no intention of dating. None whatsoever. So here are some reasons why you probably wouldn't want to date me. Starting with the first, I do not want to be around you all the time. Long distance is my best friend. Let's romanticize different time zones, okay? The second one, I already know my mom's gonna yell at me. I am expensive, and if we are not in the same tax bracket, financially and emotionally, it's a flat no. I need to consume raw fish at least twice a week, so if you don't like sushi, the relationship is already over before it's even started.
Before we let the video finish playing, boy, modern dating is just so messy for no reason. Basically what this girl's asking for is she just wants like someone that she's kind of engaged with. But it's so interesting because when you actually listen to all 10 things that she's asking for, or even the ones that she's stated so far, you'll start to see the inconsistencies. And this is one of the most important things that you will learn watching a video like this, is that you will see the problems that will come in the future from girls like this. And they are the ones who basically cause their own problems, but they won't see it. But at the end of the day, it's them. And the problem is, she ultimately, the most she'll get from a guy, especially a guy like the guy she's describing that she would want, is a situationship. But she will then complain about it, and in the future say that it was his fault. And it'll be based off of one of the things that she'll ask for. So let's continue watching.
4, I quite literally remember everything. If you say you're gonna do something, best believe that I will follow up, confirm, and then collect. 5, it will always be girl time over you. My girl time is something that I consider very sacred. 6, It's either splitsies or sharing food. There is no in between. 7, I love flowers. Randomly, consistently, and most importantly, without having to be asked, and also in quantities over 50.
All right. So I hate to keep stopping it, but let's just stop one more time because I think that one was probably the one that was most random. So let me get this straight. You don't want a relationship, but you want a guy to buy you flowers. Before that, she doesn't want a relationship. She doesn't want you to live in the same city as her. So far, we've gotten that, right? And she doesn't want you to buy her, but she wants you to buy her flowers consistently. Okay. Those two things aren't congruent. And then she wants to eat sushi so frequently. Okay, cool. So the point is, okay, what is he getting first of all, right? I'm hoping that, okay, there's some kind of exchange. You guys will get what I'm saying, right? They are maybe intimate, whatever. Okay, cool. Most guys that are successful, that are probably, because she's attractive enough, let's just call it what it is, right? She's an attractive girl. They're going to give her that. Fun chick, all day. She's gonna get that all day, twice on Sunday. Now the point is, what is she expecting? How is she expecting all these things to happen when he's not around you all the time? Cool. Guys will take that. He probably has other chicks in the city he lives in. You're just the third one in his roster. As long as you're cool with that, because that's what you're signing up for, then let's go. But let's continue watching.
8, I stand on business and I expect you to do the same. 9, I am a workaholic. My goals come first, my schedule comes second.
That workaholic thing, I can't stress that enough. She is perfect fun chick.
And dating comes somewhere third. 10, if you run from hard conversations, run the hell away from me.
Okay, so the last one to me is kind of the nail in the coffin. That's the one that will ultimately tie you back to her. And let me explain that. So she starts off pretty fun chick vibe. She doesn't want anything serious. Cool, that's fun. There's a lot of guys that have money that are gonna say, okay, cool, they're attractive enough. They're gonna say, fine, I can do this all day with you. But here are some of the issues. Then that hard conversation, the way they'll spin that at the end is this. She'll try to get you to have a hard conversation after a few months, and maybe she starts to catch feelings. She starts to think, oh, what am I really getting out of this? Because if it ever dawns on her that, yeah, those expensive sushi dates, you just wanted to go there too. So you didn't really care. You're like, cool, I like going to nice restaurants myself. Eventually she's gonna start saying, wow, I really like this guy. He's probably unique enough, or I kind of want something serious. And then that's when she's gonna cue that in as the difficult conversations that you're running away from. Not knowing that she started the relationship saying that she didn't want a relationship. She just wanted something fun. You don't have to live around her, this and that. So it's so important that when you really listen to a lot of like what a woman like this says, they're conflicting, but they don't see it that way. But if you just open time, right, and you just let it run, you will see eventually she does want that. She's just gonna play the game and then blame you for the very thing that she started off asking for. And that's the problem, I think, with modern dating, or a woman in this situation that's asking for these things. What else did she say that was interesting? She says girl time, something like that, about girl time being the most important time, and her girls come first and work comes first. Okay, cool. There's no one that's gonna take you seriously, buy you 50 flowers as frequently as she was asking for, and then you get to put them third or fourth. That's just not realistic. What's more likely is he's probably not gonna do that. He's probably just gonna be you guys are just gonna be sexually active. He's hitting it a bunch of times, so he's cool. He's gotta spend money. Something that women have to understand is the guys that are at the top 10%, there is a, how do I say this? There's a certain amount of money that to us is honestly like, this is just disposable income. I was gonna spend it anyway. I was gonna go eat at Steak 48. I was gonna go to, Mastro. You're just tagging along. But to you, you might think like, oh, this is a crazy expensive. No, I was gonna eat there anyway. I wanted that. That money is already being spent on the fun stuff. So girls like this, when they ask for that, just keep in mind, because this has happened to me so many times where girl will ask for, we'll start off a situationship, but sometimes it's not even that. We're just kicking it, and then they want to change the rules of engagement, and then they want to make it your fault. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, am I crazy for thinking this, or have you guys come across the same thing where you meet somebody and they want to change the rules of engagement? Let me know in the comment section.